Welcome back to 5-Minute Knives, and this is the video so nice I had to record it twice. The ESEE CM-6, and I have to tell you guys just right up front, spoiler, whatever, this knife has been a big surprise to me. I'm shocked at how much I enjoy this knife. So, let's get right into it, but first, let's pay some bills. Okay, welcome back, and we are talking about the ESEE CM-6. First, shout out to ESEE, who said my sheaths look nice. How awesome is that to hear from ESEE Knives? So, thank you. I'm humbled and huge fan of the brand. I don't even try to cover it up. But ESEE has always been consistently awesome. The lifetime warranty changed the game for me, you know, right when I was really getting into fixed blade stuff. And this is wearing one of my sheaths. Just a quick heads up, it's also wearing custom handle scales from the Knife Connection. I don't have the scales on me, but they are flat micarta. You've seen them all a million times. If you look up the ESEE CM-6, you will see the version of it with the flat scales. I always get aftermarket scales. Here's the knife. And I know I'm a little scattershot with this, but I just wanted to show this. So this is a... let's see. Let me look this up. I'm going to look this up on Knife Center, okay? Here at Knife Center, Jeff Randall and Mike Perrin are two of our favorite human beings. Another one of our favorite human beings is photographer and outdoorsman Terrell Hoffman. Imagine how excited, but not surprised we were when Terrell put his take on the ESEE-6, and out came this great utility fighter. So that's what they're calling it. I call it potato digging. If you got potatoes to dig, this is the one. Mainly because of this swedge. You have a sharpened swedge on this part of the, it's not a clip point, the drop point. And that lends itself to being able to really get in there and get those potatoes out. So no finger choil on this one, sub 6-inch blade. And a lot of people complained about the CM-6 I saw, you know, of the complaints, were that the handle scales were too thin. Now the ones from the Knife Connection really fill it out a little bit. See, here we are. A kind of better representation of this is actually in the sheath. And you really have to feel this one in hand to feel how solid this is. It's a little chunker in weight, I think. 1095 carbon steel, 55 to 57 Rockwell. And then what was the rest of the description here? Oh, designed by Terrell Hoffman. The ESEE CM-6 is the joining of tactical and practical, making this new knife at home in the American forest or the battlefields around the world. The 5.88 drop point blade inch drop point blade of the CM-6 is sized to compete the hardest task without adding excessive weight to your gear load. The sharpened upper swedge enhances penetration, you know, for potato digging, while the full-size canvas micarta handle is shaped to provide a secure and stable grip. Now, when I had the micarta scales on here, I wasn't as enamored with this knife as I am right now. A few things had to come together. So here's the red and black 2x2 G10 contoured scales from theknifeconnection.com. Shout out to Dale for great customer service. Appreciate the fast shipping, bud. And look at these. They're really pretty. I know it's a bad word on this channel, pretty. You guys aren't going to like that, but these are pretty. And some may note the lack of a lanyard hole and lament that. I don't really mind it at all. In a knife like this, okay, first of all, I wanted a knife that was sub 6 inches to ride on my plate carrier. Okay? Full disclosure. I wanted a knife mainly for potato digging, but also if I got into the weeds, I could process my firewood, I could sharpen it in the field. You know, it was a geometry I was familiar with. You know, it was something I wouldn't get too tired using if I had to build shelter with it, right? But most importantly, again, pesky potatoes, got to dig them up. This is the one. So it has some markings on it here. This has Chestnut Mountain Proving Grounds, it says right here. ESEE CM-6. Rowan heat treat, of course, another selling point. You know, the Rowan heat treat is pretty legendary, as is, I believe, Topps' heat treat for their 1095, for really getting the most out of this steel. This 1095 stuff is not like, I've had other 1095. For example, my ESEE 1095 stuff is a little bit different than my Becker 1095 stuff. Like my BK9, I have had BK9s where I've been able to chip the blade pretty readily, especially in cold weather. They didn't like the cold weather as much. Where my SE6s, my SE4s, my SE3s, no such chipping, same conditions, same material, you know. So I tend to trust the Rowan heat treat even a little bit more. And I don't know. I've just had good results with this steel. This has been very lightly used. Again, this is for potato digging. I haven't had to dig any potatoes. So I appreciate that. But man, the balance, the weight. I know you guys are saying lack of lanyard hole sucks because you're going to lose some control on that. Everything about this knife is lively. With the knife connection handle scales, it adds a bit of weight. So your balance point is right there at this screw. Top screw, that's your balance point right there. So this is a fast blade. Everything about this wants to stay in your hand. You know what I mean? Like it even here, I thought this was a little thin. You know, I was going to add some like, you know, tennis tape or something like that right in here, you know, for like this pinch grip or the saber grip. I thought that was almost a little too thin. It's really not. It just adds to like articulation, really. There's no thumb jimping of any kind. Some people might not like that. Personally, I don't mind at all. I don't need thumb jimping. I don't need a finger choil on this knife. I don't need anything on this knife. I need a solid blade that's going to get the job done for, again, potato digging. But if I find myself having to build a shelter afterwards, prepare a meal, you know, skin game, what couldn't you do in a pinch with this knife? It's extremely comfortable. It wants to, it's jumping all over my hand, but safely. You know what I mean? It feels safe. Feels like a knife you could not mess around with, but handle. You can handle this knife and you can trust it. And let me tell you, I have a really sharp edge on this. I really wouldn't want to be confused for being a potato. You know, be on the wrong end of this blade. I think this is a great knife. This is surprise of the year. And it comes with this sheath, just so you guys want to know. It comes with a very plain Kydex sheath with this kind of rubber retention system here. These are totally serviceable, but if you're going to get the 3D scales from Dale at the Knife Connection, heads up, it may change the fitment. Yeah, this isn't going to fit anymore. Okay, so it comes with that sheath with these, you know, like the ESEE, you know, little metal clips or whatever. And there you go. There's that sheath. You can get those for like 40 bucks by themselves. It's serviceable. It's fine. I have the hardware here. When I get these things, those sheaths usually wind up on eBay. So if you need that, look on our eBay channel. But with this, you know, with this knife in hand, I knew that my pancake sheaths, you guys know that I mainly just make pancake sheaths. I knew a pancake sheath wouldn't cut it. This needs to be thin. This is going to be taking up space on my vest. I'm going to use a Molly attachment here. I'm going to change the combat loop out for a Molly attachment right there. So I wanted to make a taco sheath that had the right kind of retention. There's my logo. How slick, right? And I actually ran out of the red cordage that you see here, like on my little Azula. This red cordage would have been probably perfect right here, but I ran out. Something I started doing recently, wrapping these, it gives me a little extra texture. Sometimes with knives like these that I like to carry around the house, I like to have the sheath have no attachment, no mounting attachment. So I just can carry this thing around, tuck it in a belt, and it's just fun to have this watching TV sitting in front of you. As you guys can see, I'm on this like red and green kick. All my gear's red and green. Here's one of my carry holsters. Look how nice these things are. You can get these on the website too. So you know, guys, we don't sell a lot of holsters to you guys. We sell to gun shops. But you guys don't buy a lot of holsters. You buy a lot of sheaths. And I do appreciate that. All handmade by me. Here's the retention on it. Like, check out this like little thumb ramp. I have this fit for my thumb. Bop. And then we're just out. And with this sheath, this handle, this knife, yeah, you're going to be out some money. I mean, the knife alone with the micarta scales and the factory sheath or whatever, that it's going to be $150 plus shipping. At least running on Knife Center at this snapshot in time. But if you were to build a full setup like this, like get the scales, have me build you a sheath, I mean, it's going to be costly. It's going to be costly. You're going to be up $260, you know, $250, $260, $270, depending on options and shipping. And by the time shipping all adds up, you might be out just under $300 for something like this. And a lot of people would say $300 for 1095 steel and a very kind of strange design that I haven't seen in a lot of survival fix, field blades. Some people may not be willing to try this one out for that reason. And even at $150 with the micarta scales and the ESEE sheath, I'm not too excited about this knife, and that's why I never bought it. That being said, I'm now a sheath maker. That opens up all sorts of opportunities for me. And I now look at the same old humdrum knives, or what I thought were humdrum knives, in a new light. Between Dale with the custom scales here, because now I'm looking at it like, well, I don't like the handle scales, but maybe I can fix that, right? It opens up a new possibility with the handles. Now from there, you're going, okay, well, the same old sheath's not going to fit anymore with these scales. I now know that. Like if you guys wanted a sheath from me, I'm going to ask, do you have the micarta scales? And I got rid of mine. I'm not going to keep them around, and I'm not going to keep changing them out on this knife. So if you have the flat scales, you're going to have to send your knife in, just like any other custom. So quick heads up on that. Thank you to everybody that's been ordering sheaths lately. They've been coming out awesome. Thank you to ESEE Knives for telling me that my sheaths look good. That's super flattering. What a shot in the arm for the business, I bet. But this whole setup, I was going to go with the Bastinelli Creations Tanto, but it was $250. I didn't want to spend $250. Basically, with this one, I was willing to spend the $150, and even if I didn't like the knife that much, it was going to ride on my vest anyway, and I was just going to adapt to it. People in terrible potato digging situations all around the world are just issued what they're issued, and they just deal with it. And this is this is a perfectly suitable tool for any potatoes you may encounter. So I figured even if I didn't like it that much, I would still put it into use, into my systems. And if it was that bad, I'd use it as a giveaway. Now, I get the knife in hand. I really, really like it. Now I start looking at the handle scales going, okay, maybe I would spend $50 extra to get this thing fit in my hand properly. And by the way, with these 3D handle scales, any way you grip this is super duper comfortable. I have large hands, as you know. Right here does feel a little thin, but it sort of makes you want to move around. It sort of gives you a little more. This is a Sneaky Pete. This is a Sneaky Pete knife. This is one that you might want to get in hand. It reminds me of the Tops Ice Dagger in the way that once you get it in hand, you really do appreciate it in a new way. And that's this knife. So now we've already gotten the handles on here. We've already gotten this shipped to me. What am I out? $200? Get the handles on here. Of course, even if I didn't make these sheaths, I would hit me up to have one of these made. And then here's our retention. Just butter. This thing is butter. You got to put this on a belt, no problem. And then boom, she's out. Be very careful with this knife, guys. It is a dangerous knife to the user, I would say. Running and trip would be a nightmare. This sharpened swedge is not sharp at all. I saw Chris from Prepared Mind. He did a review on this knife where he really gushed about it. But he was trying to spark a ferro rod with this, with the coated part. This is uncoated. Why didn't you use this? This is sharp. You could have probably done that. I haven't tried it because I don't want to scratch it all up. And I'm just doing light use with this guy. But this is, whoop, hit the orb of judgment. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's fast. You're going to want to move it around and just be very, very careful, with this knife. And if you guys need a sheath, just let me know. If you're a subscriber to the channel, maybe we'll throw you a discount. So that's it for me. I'm happy with this review. I think it's good. We were supposed to make a short one. It's not that short, 15 minutes, but I'm really loving this knife. I believe this is my new favorite knife. I don't care about the missing lanyard hole. I don't care about the lack of a finger choil. It's sub 6 inches. I don't care that the handle gets a little thin right here. Basically, all the reasons that you may have for not wanting this don't bother me at all. And if you're like me and those things don't matter to you, this could be your all-around setup. I mean, if I had to bring one knife into anything, and I know this is almost a little premature because it's still new to my collection, but previously I would have said it was the Architect maybe 5.5 because I can do all my field work and survive with it. This gives you the added option of digging those potatoes. So between being able to do pretty much everything else I can do with the other blade, granted, in some people's eyes, an inferior steel, the 5.5 is in 3V, this is in 1095, I understand that. They're apples and oranges as far as their intended purposes. But can I do everything I do with the 5.5 with this in a pinch? Yes. Can I dig as many potatoes with the 5.5 as I can with the CM-6? No. And for that reason, the CM-6 in this probably my favorite sheath I've ever made, with these awesome red and black handle scales. Guys, this is my pick for grab one knife and go. In my collection, you know I'm a fixed blade guy. I prefer fixed blades. If I had, you know, even an extended camping trip, you know, the Azula would be a great complement to this. I mean, my thing is I want to be able to navigate the woods, do all my woodland tasks if I need to. And then, you know, if something were to come up where I was, you know, in a position where I had to defend myself in a quick situation, you know, from a massive potato, hands down. ESEE CM-6, can't go wrong. That's my review. Not just a recommendation, a strong recommendation to buy while you can find them. I don't think these things sold that well. So that being said, you know, who knows if they're going to keep making them? Who knows how much longer these things will be in production? I recommend that we go out and buy a whole ton of them because they're freaking awesome. So if you're looking for, you know, a utility knife, but you're not Johnny Rambo, and you're most likely going to be doing wood stuff and bushcrafting and camp chores, and that's mostly what most of us are ever going to use a knife for, then yeah, this would work for that too. And you don't have to feel like a schmuck for walking around with something that's a little too tactical for the situation. So that's my take on it. A complete and total buy, a very strong recommendation to buy while you can. We've seen good knives come and go in the past. I would hate to see this one ever go out of production. I really, really dig this knife. Let's, you know, and then also with the handle scales, let's support Dale at thenifeconnection.com. These handle scales are awesome. And then if you want, you can throw a little business my way to wrap it all up. You know, again, if you got it like that, if you're one of the rich people like me, apparently, we can afford to put all this together. Actually, I could only afford it because I built the Sheath. So there you go. This did still fall in my wheelhouse at about $200 for a lifelong companion. I think it's a steal. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. You did vote last week that you wanted to see hiking and camping vlogs, and you wanted more Sheath giveaways, so I can keep those coming all day. Keep sharing the channel with your friends. Keep subscribing. Keep hitting the like. Keep commenting. All that crap adds up. Believe it or not, seems like you're doing nothing. You're actually helping me. I think that's all I have, so we'll just see you guys next week on 5-Minute Knives. And I'm just doing light use with this guy.